can't hide. I'ma go swimming by. Iki holo ikenai. I'ma go swimming by. I'ma go swimming by. Iwa hine o e no halawa mai. E nani maole no. Ka heke no o e kauiki la. E wehi no kuiki no. Toki mai au I ane I kau vei o ke kolau. Me ka lehi. I ka makani o ua. Iwa hine o e no ai lau mai. E nani maole no. Ka heke no o e kauiki la. E wehi no kuiki no. Toki mai au I ane I kau vei o ke kolau. Me ka lehi. I ka makani e ke pue. Iwa hine o e no pelekunu mai. E nani maole no. Ka heke no o e kauiki la. E wehi no kuiki no. Ho'i mai au I ane I kau vei o ke kolau.
So these spectacular cliffs of Molokai are famous. They're the tallest sea cliffs in the world. You guys came down 1,700 feet of elevation. You guys came down 26 switchbacks, 3 1/8 miles. There's been a trail there for over 1,000 years.
Wow.
Native Hawaiians have been on this peninsula since 600 to 900 AD. So, you know, now this is the modern era and the parks takes care of this trail and maintains it, and the mules come down Monday through Friday. We have workers with the National Park and the state of Hawaii that hike this trail daily. So they come down in the morning, they go to work, at 4:30 they hike back up, go back to their families. And everyone says it's easier going up than coming down. Okay? Might be a little more cardio, but easier than slipping and sliding and on your knees, etc. And we're going to pull into what is the leeward side of this peninsula, and it's known as Kalaupapa. And there has been a fishing village here for over 1,000 years, prior to the leprosy colony. It's happy when it rains. Hawaiians have a saying, it's called Ue Kalani, Ola Ka Honua. When the heavens weep, there is life to the land. Ola Ka Honua, life to the land. So, you know, the history of the disease, in the early 1800s, they think that leprosy came from China. So the Hawaiians called it Mai Pake. It was the Pake, the Chinese disease. It's what they named it. They're not for sure that it came from there, but you know, when Cook came in 1778, they estimated 350,000 Hawaiians. By 1840, history tells us there's about 75,000 left because of diseases. You know, Hawaii had not been discovered by the Western civilization. And the Western diseases came in and decimated their population. You know, from measles to smallpox to pneumonia, influenza, tuberculosis, leprosy. So by that time, reluctantly, it was spreading like wildfire in the local population. And reluctantly, the King of Hawaii signed the isolation and segregation law in 1865. And he knew that it was going to break up families. And Hawaiians are all about ohana. Ohana is the basis of everything that is aloha. And if you watch the movie Lilo and Stitch, ohana means family. And that means no one is left behind or forgotten. So the King of Hawaii knew that, hey, this is not going to be a good thing. And sure enough, the early years of the settlement, history books tell us, was not pretty. It was like the Wild Wild West. Many people gave up. There was drunkenness, lawlessness, taking advantage of young kids. So the settlement superintendent and people like Father Damien, the Mormon leaders, the Protestant leaders, instead of coming here to die, they gave them, the people, the choice to come here to live. And live they did. Live they did. It took a while to get it up and running. They didn't have enough shelter. They didn't have enough medicine. They didn't have enough everything. But here comes Damien in 1873. Here comes other leaders. They start a boys' home out at Kalaupapa, the Baldwin Boys' Home, to take care of the young children that were sent here those days. Here in 1888, the girls' home, the Bishop Home for Girls. And they gave the people life, you know, and live they did as best they could. And I try to make it a positive angle today. What started as a horrible nightmare in 1866 out at Kalaupapa, where we're headed, today is a very happy ending. And this modern era of patient like Boogie and Auntie Gloria and many others, Uncle Polly who passed, who was this happy-go-lucky man who wanted to meet people and have this story be told, is that they are victorious and they have overcome. And it is a happy ending today. We cannot forget all the pain and suffering and death that was here. That's history. But today it's a happy ending. And miraculously, in the 1940s, after thousands of years of this horrible disease and the stigma and the deformity, we find a cure for leprosy. How cool is that? And then by 1950s and 60s, the cure comes to Molokai. They stopped sending patients here in 1962, and in 1969, they lift the isolation separation ban. And these people are free to go. And I think the state of Hawaii thought that everyone would want to leave, but it's the total opposite. Why would you want to leave? This is where they lived their whole life. The view is spectacular every day and never gets old, and so they choose to live here. But the Department of Health is taking care of them, and so they are well taken care of, and it is a happy ending. So let's go to Kalaupapa. But this was the Buddhist temple. Today it's the bookstore. We missed Uncle Boogie today. Aww. He went out yesterday to Honolulu, either to go to the doctor or just to go eat Chinese food. You know, but he is a fixture here. He's the rock star of Kalaupapa. Aww. He's 77. He's the youngest of the remaining 11 patients. Aww. And normally we get to meet him and he autograph your book. Aww. And he's just a happy-go-lucky Hawaiian man. He came here when he was 10 years old. Wow. From Puna on the Big Mele kako ne apau, ika mele ainala, okana ni mai o, oke ola mau, ika makani ku ule. kai kupu vai o ka aina uluwe uluwe kino e hi vai la laila o I mai ka uala I ka aina uluwe o wai lau hano hano valeno Vailele kahi wala a me ke kuahiwi o olo kui a me ke kuahiwi o olo kui There's stories of night marchers here. Over here to the left is a birthing stone. So the ancient Polynesian culture, the Ali'is, the Wahinis gave birth on the stone because of the mana. So they're on all the islands. There's birthing stones on all the islands. But this is the birthing stone of Kalaupapa. And I've been in this, you can come back to Kalaupapa. You can volunteer for the national park. Go to their website, click on the volunteer tab, plan your trip with a group, and come and volunteer. And then what we don't get to see today, after you volunteer for the park for a few hours during the day, you get to come and go into Lang Lang Forest. You get to go into Vaihanao. You get to go to the top of the crater. You get to swim at the pier. You get to touch the stars at night. So you can come back. But this area here, Lang Lang Forest, that definitely was a heiau or a very prominent Hawaiian place with all these rock walls. And the petroglyphs and the birthing stone. And the night marchers still walk their old trails of old here on certain nights of the moon. And they relocated the colony. And the one main reason was the weather. Because of that windward location. Even though it's 4 miles away, it's much fairer and nicer in Kalaupapa. It gets cold over here during the winter. You know, it got down last year at Kalawao to 8 below. 8 below 70. There's deer. Look at that, a whole herd.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Wow, boy, they're getting paid today. My goodness. Watch for the buck. Watch for the buck. My goodness gracious. How many deer is that? That's over 100.
Way too many.
Their meat is not gamey at all. Their backstrap is better than a prime steak. And we can raise our kids on this venison. They're everywhere. So you just got to go get them. They're free. You can't buy it in a store. You got to ask a local, hey, where can I get some venison? Or you're lucky you're on Kalaupapa on Tuesday and you get the singing tour guide who also brings some Bambi candy. My son-in-law makes this jerky style and it's super good. Pass it around and enjoy as we head out to call the Marquesas in the Polynesian migration. This is Mokapu Island. We'll see Okala Island later when we go down to Kalawao. This is an ancient Hawaiian heiau. O molo ka ila ina palive live o ke ko o lau hea mai ka leo hone Ike ahi ahi la I ka makani e ke pue o ke awawa E hi I vai la laila o I mai ka ua la I ka aina uluwe o wai lau Hano hano valeno Vailele kahi wala A me ke kuahiwi o olo kui Mele kako ne a pau I ka mele aina la O ka nani mai ole O ke ola mau I ka pakani kuleo O ke kai kupu vai O ka aina uluwe Vai la laila o I mai ka ua la I ka aina uluwe no Wailele kahi wala A me ke kuahi O olo kui A me ke kuahi O olo kui They got them to shore as best they could because they were mostly Hawaiians and the deckhands were Hawaiians on long boats. And they're not going to throw their ohana in the water. They're going to get them to shore as best they could. Yeah, over at Kalaupapa, they had a dock. So that's why they moved over there. Over here, it was too rough. But they would bring supplies in on the longboat. Out here on the peninsula, there was a crane that they could lift stuff up and then turn it into shore. It would have to be weather permitting, yeah. So the summertime months were the months that you brought supplies. Even today, the yearly barge comes to Kalaupapa once a year. Siloamo, the Church of the Healing Spring, started by the first 12 patients that landed. Ame molokai nui ahina Aina iko vehi vehi Hoi no wau